Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Patrick McFarlane. I'm the host of a Liberty-themed podcast, aptly titled the Liberty Weekly Podcast. I'm going to do a little Let's Play today because I just discovered OBS, which is a screen capture recording software, and I wanted to play around with it a little bit, but I also got this game, Doom, and I played Doom all through my childhood, and I finally was able to get the newest version of the game. It was just too steep a price to pay initially, $60 to shell out, and for some reason it didn't really excite me that much initially, but now I'm really getting into it, and I want to do a Let's Play just to kind of play around with it, but also to promote my podcast, which is a Liberty ANCAP voluntarist podcast, as I mentioned before, called the Liberty Weekly Podcast. But so hopefully this Let's Play will give me a little bit more exposure on that platform. But I really just want to do something that's kind of benign. There might be some crossover with this and the contents of my podcast. But I'll just let the cards fall where they may. So let's dive in here. I'm going to start a new game. And I'm not going to do it at too big of a difficulty because I'm still kind of getting used to the game. So let's do that one. Alright, so I'm not going to talk too much during the opening, just so you guys can see the beginning of the game and the intro here. Let's go.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear, until it is done.
Oh shit. Brutal. Alright. So the difference between this game and the original Doom, or not the original, sorry, the last game in the series, I think it was Doom 3. I really like Doom 3. I remember playing it like in middle school and stuff. And this just... Here, hold on a sec. This one kind of just throws you into the action here. The other one had more of like a creepy build-up to it that I appreciated.
We have to contain this.
Oh, do we? Okay, there we go. This part's a little cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna kind of stay quiet during these intro parts here. Some story. Because there's not much in the beginning.
Cannot determine the cause of the demonic invasion until the Resop satellite is brought back online.
How does the computer know it's already a demonic invasion?
Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think we can work together and resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Fuck you. Yeah, as I was saying before, the past iteration of this series there was more of a creepy build-up to it that I appreciated. Oh, let's fucking do it. There we go. And it was more of a darker game, whereas this one is more arcadey. And I know that was kind of a big part of the developers. That was part of the draw of the game, kind of returning to the arcadey feel of the original Doom, which I do appreciate. But for some reason, it just, in playing what I've played before this, it didn't sit right with me. But I'm gonna give it a try. I think I'm gonna play through the whole game and do Let's Plays. Just for fun. I've never done one before, so Also, this game is fucking brutal.
Demonic presence at unsafe levels. Lockdown in effect.
So one of the coolest parts that I've seen so far is just, aside from the graphics, because it's a beautiful game, as you can see. There's so much gore. There's this thing called a gore nest, which is right there. But I was talking with my wife about it, and this game just kind of seems like Dead Space, except an FPS. I see a lot of similar things here, but one draw about the game that I remember them talking about when it first came out was the fact that the game rewards you to jump into combat. And that's just not really my playstyle all the time. I like to sit back and kind of use medium range. But we'll see how that develops as we go through here. So, so I wanted to talk a little bit too about, I recently just saw the new It movie, and I wasn't very impressed actually. I didn't have high hopes, but I kind of went into it hoping that the game, or the movie, wouldn't be a disappointment, which I don't know why I was thinking that. I set myself up for disappointment, but it was just so plot driven, and the characters were not well developed at all, I thought. And I don't know how many of you have seen it out there, so I won't give any spoilers or anything, but if you are fans of Stephen King, you will be disappointed in the film. And I'm a fan of Stephen King, not personally, but his writing. I read a lot of his books. I didn't finish it, but I mean, I would go so far as to say that the original It movie with Tim Curry as the clown was better than what I saw last night, actually.
He cannot be allowed to leave this place. He would ruin everything.
So I assume she's talking about a demon or some shit?
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes.
Oh.
But it was worth the risk. I assure you.
That sounds like Madeleine Albright. Oh, Bethesda. It sounds like Madeleine Albright saying that the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children was worth it. Fucking Doom, man. Alright. So in the original Doom games, there wasn't much, like, if I recall correctly, there wasn't a whole lot of, like, running outside on the Martian surface. So I wasn't too keen in the last iteration, I think Doom 3. I wasn't too keen on the portions where they would have you run outside, because it kind of worked. I think it worked because, god damn it, I'm fucking stuck. And one criticism I had of this game playing it earlier was that it's not very, like, intuitive. Oh, okay, never mind. Well, I was gonna say it's not very intuitive where you need to go, but so what I liked most about Doom 3, as I was saying before, was that when you walk around on the Martian surface in Doom 3, the silence, the dead silence of it was very eerie when compared to some of the frantic action that you had and some of the creepy horror stuff that you had walking around on the inside in the darkness. And then you get out to the Martian surface and everything is fucking, like, it's all quiet and eerie. And it just added to the ambiance of the game. Whereas in here, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna run around outside and shoot stuff. And I don't know, I don't really know how well received this game was. I think it was pretty well received, and I think it's kind of odd that my criticism of it so far, I mean, the fact that I'm playing the game, I choose this to be my first Let's Play, but I have criticism for it. But at the same time, my criticism is like, hold on a sec. It's weird that I'm criticizing it for being arcadey, because the original Doom game was pretty arcadey. But my favorite memories were of the Doom franchise was playing Doom 3. And having it be fucking terrifying. And I haven't been terrified by this game. Although it is brutal. And what I really wanted to do was I wanted to play the game. Oh, I forgot that I'd turned the music off. Maybe I'll have to turn that back on once I get a little reprieve here. But I turned the music off because I wanted to play some metal in the background, like some real metal. But I was worried about the legal implications because I don't really know that much about Let's Plays and them using music. So I just decided to let that go. God, why did I do that? Okay. Okay, so I need to get up there. You know, come to think of it, last time, when I had first played this game and when I was talking about how hard it is to know where to go and stuff, I was kind of drunk, so maybe that had something to do with it. Alright, there's the gun. It is a beautiful game, though. And there's Easter eggs hidden everywhere, so I was never one to really find Easter eggs that well. Oh well. The fuck is that? Oh, it's a frag. Okay. Well, let's throw it. God damn it. So what I should be doing, PC Master Race, is I should be playing with mouse and keyboard, but I'm not. I'm playing with a controller, which is kind of blasphemous. There we go. What I also wanted to do was do a Let's Play of Wolfenstein too, because that was a really fun game. I'm hoping that the second one won't be all like SJW-y, but what can you do? Because the whole Bash the Fash thing is so fucking hot right now. I just hate how like leftist culture has corrupted a lot of entertainment lately. Okay. There we go. What I initially had thought in this game, because I think it's up here that you confront some. What is that? Oh, that's cool. I like how they add some RPG elements to this, because let's see, area scanning, equipment. What should I choose? I'll get this one. Alright. Okay. Well, because the other one didn't have that. But I was going to say there was another segment in here where you encounter a different bot. And the bot, I thought was going to be like a drone that just kind of follows you around. But it's not. So one thing that I had already noticed, and okay, so as I was saying before, at the very beginning of this Let's Play, I was talking about my podcast, and I've had a lot of fun with it so far. It's been a good vehicle for my activism, what I like to call within the liberty movement. So I guess, and I said that I wasn't going to let that bleed over, but I guess that defeats the purpose. So A commentary that I had so far already in this game was that it seems to be the kind of let's blame everything on corporatocracy kind of thing, which because in the Doom universe, it's the Union Aerospace Corporation that has basically taken over Mars. They're responsible for settling Mars and all the like bioweapon research that they've been doing. And if I recall correctly, in the third game, Doom 3, the whole point of the game is that the Union... Oh, okay, this is the part of the game that I got lost in when I played drunk. I don't want to bore everyone running around. Oh, yeah, you gotta jump across that thing. Okay. The Union Aerospace Corporation is responsible for settling Mars, and they have been doing bioweapon research on the planet, and essentially... Oh, this is the thing I was talking about earlier that I thought was going to be a drone. But it's just to upgrade your weapons and shit. So I was saying they were doing bioweapon research on Mars, and they are developing a portal system, essentially. And they discovered this ancient artifact, and I think they used the science from it from this ancient artifact to open the portal that they've been using to try and get teleportation technology and develop that. But essentially what they are doing in order to teleport is that they are opening a rift into hell, a portal to hell, and all the demons come out. And I guess that's pretty much the gist of it. But it's a little more detailed because you don't really know what's going on, and it slowly unfolds throughout the game, throughout the story in a way that I thought worked really well. And it was such a good game to me. Maybe I'm just nostalgic, but the experience of playing it and just being terrified, it's not something that I really got from this iteration of the series. But what I was saying, a little bit of cultural commentary, I suppose, is that themes that I've been seeing is throughout this game is that there's commentary and critiquing of corporations essentially becoming to take the place of government, which is, as from a voluntarist perspective, and for anyone listening to this point who have still kept on board with this, and who maybe don't listen to my podcast or are unfamiliar with libertarianism, voluntarists basically assert that it is not moral for a group of individuals to do, or that which it is not moral for an individual to do, it is also not moral for a group of individuals to do. And so we would apply the non-aggression principle, which is basically the principle saying that it's not okay to use violence or physical force or the threat of violence against peaceful people. So it's not a pacifist axiom, it is an axiom of non-aggression. So a response to violence is okay as long as it's provoked and an equal response. But you're not allowed to initiate the use of force or aggression against anyone. And so basically, a voluntarist would extend that axiom, like don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. A voluntarist would extend that to groups of people, like governments. So essentially, governments initiate violence or use violence against peaceful people in order to enforce their laws, which we would say is immoral. And if you want to hear more about that specifically, I'm explaining that to say where I'm coming from in this, in critiquing this game, basically. And if you want to learn more about that, I would direct you to my website at libertyweekly.net/1, which is the first episode of the show where we talk in detail about the ideology. But my critique from that lens of this game was that the commentary seems to be veering in that leftist direction. Oh, what the fuck? That leftist direction of critiquing corporations and the leftist-themed dystopia of a corporation taking over and enslaving people and basically acting like a government, which to me is so ironic because I would just classify that corporation as being a government. Like the Union Aerospace Corporation is essentially a government. And if it's not a government, then there's no mechanism for it to enforce what it's doing here, which is basically, we would define a government as a group that maintains a legal monopoly on the use of force or violence in a given area. And the UAC, if it is keeping people on Mars against their will and making...
Now 221 accident-free days.
Like this. So this guy pops up occasionally. This is the narrative. The
God
game's...
rested on the seventh day, but imagine how much further along we would be if he hadn't. The UAC is committed to excellence. That's why we implemented the 7-day work week. Now you can achieve greatness alongside your coworkers every day. Let's never stop achieving.
This is the game's narrative that is interplayed here, is portraying the UAC as a corporation that enslaves people and uses a religious bent in order to enforce, in order to brainwash and enforce the people that work here. And
God rested on the seventh day, but imagine how much further along.
I would just define that. Oh, the level's over already. Shit. Okay.
That's why we implemented the 7-day work week. Now you can achieve greatness on all sides.
Well, I guess I'm doing levels 1 and 2.
Let's never stop achieving.
Alright. So essentially, I don't understand, because he's saying there that that's why the UAC implemented the 7-day work week. And they just make it sound like these people are brainwashed drones that are being, Stockholm syndrome, I guess, into being under the thumb of the Union Aerospace Corporation. But the reason why I mention voluntariness is the UAC in this situation I would define as a government because they use coercive control.
Hello, I am Vega, the sentient intelligence assigned to Mars.
I don't like this as much.
After running diagnostics on the Praetor suit, it appears that I can activate optional challenges that, when completed, will assist in upgrading your arsenal at an accelerated pace. I have added a tracking component to your dossier.
Main power offline. All entrances not operational.
I'm going to get back to my commentary in a little bit. I just need to play a little bit.
Main power offline. All entrances not operational.
But so the reason why I kind of wanted to do there's a fucking cutscene up here. Okay.
Main power online.
I believe in honesty, especially now, in what will be your final moments in this world. All the rumors, the human sacrifices, the hell portal, the demons.
Okay, so this is later in time than Doom 3.
My sisters and brothers, be thankful. You will be the first. You will have a seat alongside them, just as I will, in what will become the new world that they create for us. Starting now.
So the whole cult religious thing I thought was interesting, and it makes sense in the purview of the game, I guess since the Union Aerospace Corporation has come in and is settling Mars, and I guess whoever comes there is submitting to their
I believe in
jurisdiction.
honesty, especially now, in what will be your final moments in
Shoot
this
this
world.
fucker.
All the
Yes.
rumors, the human sacrifices,
That is
the
badass.
hell, the demons.
That shit. I love it. Okay. One thing I always
My
wondered
sisters and
is...
brothers, be thankful. You will be the first.
Okay.
You will have a seat
It isn't
alongside
completely-
them just as I will. in what will
You
become
can't
the
tear it
new
apart
world
at whatever
they
part
create
that you
for
are shooting
us.
at. It's segmented.
Especially
Oh, there we go.
the demons.
So the whole religious cult like thing makes sense within the purview of the game, I suppose. But I would define the UAC as being a government because it sounds like you have to submit to the law that they dictate in order to live on Mars. There's no independent living on Mars specifically. There's no voluntary arrangements here. Oh shit. Oh, that was cool. Fucking brutal.
I believe in honesty. Especially now. And what will be your final moments in this world? All the rumors.
I always feel like I'm missing shit when I play games like this.
Human sacrifices. The hell.
I think that's about it. Now, when I originally played this game, I got up to the point where you get a battle rifle, and that was great because it's just so much. It gives you much more versatility, like in this situation. There we go. But I thought it was to continue with, okay, I gotta pay attention. I thought it was so ironic that this game was bringing that religious element into the corporate control. Oh, that drippy gore sound, I love it. It was interesting that the game was bringing the religious aspect into the corporation kind of thing because I would associate religious sentiment more with government than I would with corporations. Like you don't see, you see some like religious type behavior surrounding Apple, but or other kind of corporations, but regularly I would associate, you know, nationalism and patriotism with the state. And
Talk to your supervisor to see if you need
let's
the
see what this commentary
requirements to
part
install
is.
Mars.
Yeah, look at that chunk of fucking meat. Okay, where's the guy?
The UAC. The world is counting on us. How committed are you?
Yeah, like language like that, you usually see that on fucking like World War I billboards, like the country is counting on you. You don't see that in the purview of the government or of the private sector. You might see it with churches and shit, but that's actually religious. I think the difference is because you can step out of oh, that was good, Jenny. that no one is forcing you to interact with a business. And in this situation at the UAC, you have no choice but to deal with the UAC. Where in the case of the free market, you don't have to. No one's forcing you at gunpoint to interact with or patronize a business. And that part about the 7-day work week was funny too, because it was not government or labor unions that created the 7-day work week. That just came about naturally as a market process. As the market for labor shifted, as businesses found that it was more productive if they let their laborers rest on certain days. Oh, what the fuck? Well, it was my first death, so... I'm one of those people where I have to play, if I'm playing a game, I have to play it on the hardest difficulty, or else I feel like I'm cheating somehow, or that I'm not good enough, and I think it kind of came from me playing, like, NFL games, and competing with my friends when I was younger. And I just felt like I had to be the best at everything. I guess that's just kind of the type of person that I am. But it can get in the way because it gets in the way of me finishing games, because if I get to a part that I can't beat, I get gradually frustrated and then I set it down. That's happened to a lot of games. Let's clean up shop here. Oh, that was kind of scary. How he just kind of... He sideswiped in like that. Oh, what I should play is Outlast. That was a fun game. Although I've heard Outlast 2 wasn't as good as the first Outlast, which isn't surprising to hear that review, but I really enjoyed the first Outlast, but I could see how if they didn't keep... Is this ammo for my chainsaw? I could see how if they weren't innovating, that it would become, I don't know, kind of boring, because the gameplay is a little repetitive. Like, some guy comes by and then you hide, and then you try and run past when they're not there anymore. And there's some variations to that formula, but essentially that's the formula. You just kind of... Oh, I see how I died. You just kind of come through in Outlast, you just kind of run through everything, and you get a certain key and you go through a certain door, but essentially the gameplay is almost all the same.
Access denied. Yellow security limits
It's more like a film where you run through the gauntlet, essentially, and do what they have prescribed for you, and it's more of a cinematic experience in that sense. Now this is a part I had trouble with when I was playing on my own.
Demonic presence at unsafe mode.
I just find it so weird that the computer knows of what a demonic presence is. Unless it was pre-programmed to. Maybe that's something that will be revealed in the story. I was talking to some friends about this game tonight in my D&D group, and they were saying that it picks up. Because I did find the first couple chapters to be a little lacking in substance, and I guess I'm hungry for a storyline. So my favorite weapon so far has been the shotgun. But like I was saying, the game kind of picks up slowly. You don't have a whole lot to work with in these early levels. Oh. This would be great with some sugar. That's what I wanted to do. So if anyone watches this and gets this far somehow, will you let me and you know, like, the legality behind YouTube. I should know because I'm a law student, but I'm too, like, I'm too lazy to look up what the law is. Just someone tell me if I am allowed to play music during this. I've seen other YouTubers who will play music during some stuff. And I guess I'm not sure what the policy is behind that. So I think at this part, I basically just have to kill shit until the doors open. Oh, I should be using my chainsaw.
Demonic presence eliminated. Lockdown.
I've been depriving all of you of the chainsaw kills. I'll do one now. I need some ammo. I think that's what the... So I'm confused as to what this ghost is. Like, there's so many unanswered questions in these first couple levels. Come on. Oh, it's like real life. You press the button a million fucking times and wait. Alright, let's get ready for a brutal fucking chainsaw kill. This really, no, this doesn't need Meshuggah. This needs Cannibal Corpse. What is that? There's a Cannibal Corpse song about a chainsaw. I think it's... I can't remember what it is. Explosive shot. Just punch the robot. Yeah, there was a battle drone in Doom 3, like in the beginning, or at certain parts of the game. Okay, 2 mods. Okay, well that's not working. Do I have 2 mods? I don't think so. Yes. Alright. Oh, fuck me. Okay. Should have seen that one coming. These zombies are cool. They're a little cooler than in Doom 3. This punching hand must get sore. It hurts to punch someone. Okay, now what am I doing? How do you get... I need to get in there. Oh, I'm not going to dick around trying to figure out how to get in there.
Access granted.
That's the drone I'm looking for. So, I'm supposed to follow what happened in the story by following the ghost.
Welcome to the
bonuses in here.
installation, located in the vast Mass Planck Impact Basin. This high-tech mining and research facility is pushing the boundaries of the imagination each and every day. As a valued employee, your loyalty is more than just a commitment to the UAC.
Thank you.
It's a commitment to the future of mankind. Thank you for your service.
Alright, I'm gonna pause on opening the airlock for now. I think that zombie opened this door, right? No. Or yeah, no.
All UAC employees are subject to regular med checks to ensure their production capabilities are not.
Alright, let's go. Oh, that's so satisfying to use. There we go. Alright, let's do a chainsaw kill. Fuck yes. Oh, that's nice. So I think the benefit, obviously, of using the chainsaw is that you get ammo drops. This game is so arcadey. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that the ammo drops, the weapon, or the ammo you get from the ammo drops are used in any weapon. And also, there's no reloading your weapon. I think you just work from your general stock of ammo, which is a very interesting touch. Oh boy, what's this? Punch? No, okay. Yep. That's cool. I've seen melee kill compilations from this game before, but controlling it is more satisfying. Come on. Like, again, I think this part is you just kill everything and then you move on. Okay. That part's so cool. Again, like I said, it'd be good with some Meshuggah. Oh, it's a pretty game. It's a little more desolate sounding without music, though. I should turn on the music. Let's get some story, figure out what the fuck's going on. Where's the button? There we go. That's funny.
I'm blocking your access to the facility scanner. Come to the Vega terminal, and I'll give you what you need.
Checkpoint, that's good. Yeah, so some of my best memories actually are of playing Doom. Other games I played a lot of as a kid was I was more of an RTS kid. I like Tiberian Sun and Red Alert. Red Alert 2, a lot of the Westwood games kind of went downhill when they were taken over by EA, but what can you do? So I'm a big South Park fan actually, and the new season comes out on Wednesday. I'm pretty excited to see what they have to say about everything that's happened or is happening. Stupid. Still getting used to the controls. Okay. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? No. Maybe? Okay. But I also started playing GTA San Andreas in compatibility mode. Maybe I'll do a Let's Play of that too. If anyone actually watches this. But I'm doing this more for my amusement, I guess, and if people like it, then that's great. But if they don't, that's fine too. But one thing I notice is that there's not a lot of Let's Plays like this on BitChute, which is where I'm going to post this video primarily. But I really like BitChute. I've been having good experiences, driving a lot of traffic to my website through BitChute and getting a lot of views and listens that way for the podcast. That was a little surprising. It's a decentralized peer-to-peer YouTube, basically, where the hosting, the torrent hosting, is done in the browser, so it's kind of seamlessly placed in, but it gets rid of the need for centralized control, and part of the appeal of it is that it's quote-unquote uncensorable, which is kind of I think has become kind of a gimmick in the alt-tech community, since Google has been going on a censor rampage lately, and Google owns YouTube, that these alt-tech firms have been coming forward and producing alternatives. But in that sphere, I think that uncensorable, the term, has become somewhat of a gimmick, because ultimately anything is censorable, I think. And maybe I'm being kind of naive, but I don't care too much about censorship. I mean, obviously I do, and I think the government shouldn't censor people. But within the private sphere, if you're a libertarian, it's not that libertarians don't care if private organizations will discriminate based on speech like that. It's just that, I don't know, I care about free speech, but at the same time, it's not something that I get all worked up about necessarily, because I'm very annoyed by other people's opinions usually, and I really don't have anything that controversial to say. Like, I'm not a racist or anything, although that term is thrown out just handily. But I mean, I'm an anarchist, but I don't really go on diatribes about, Muslims or black people or anything like that. So I criticize the government plenty. I might say some things about cops or veterans, but not veterans per se.
It's
but
a gift.
The wars.
Take it. It will give you strength,
Oh, what the fuck
help
is
you
that?
on your journey, if you can withstand the power surge.
Is this like the Eye of Sauron? Do I become evil? Oh. Wow. It's a little anticlimactic.
That is pure Argent energy you've just taken into your system.
Oh, this guy's a
seems to
robot.
agree with you. I will unlock the remaining Argent cells within the facility for you. Vega, give him what he wants.
61,337 UAC members deceased. 81% of the facility is on lockdown. Demonic presence through the Mars installation is critical. According to the records, Dr. Hayden, the invasion originated in the Lazarus facility. It seems that a hell wave was activated, transforming 64% of all UAC employees into the creatures you see roaming throughout the facility. The rest were killed by the demons released from their holding cells by Olivia Pierce.
I feel I should apologize for what's happened here. Some of my employees took things too far. Olivia was the cause of all this, and I believe you will have to deal with her in time. You may not agree with our research, but know this. We exploited hell and its resources because it was in mankind's best interest to
Wait,
do
what?
so.
How
What
do
you
you
now
exploit
see
hell?
in this facility is the cost of progress. Huh. But none of that matters now.
There is an emergency in the foundry. The regulators have been destroyed and the core temperatures are now destabilizing.
They've overrun the adjacent facility. If the venting turbines aren't re-engaged, neither of us will survive the meltdown.
And of course, I have to fucking fix the problem. All right, so I'm assuming that. Should I start wrapping this up because? Oh. Ooh, yeah, bigger boom. I like that. Should I assume that this mission is ending soon? Maybe I should qualify my position on free speech. Some libertarians would be like, you're not for free speech. I'm for free speech. I just get annoyed by what other people say with their free speech. Okay, so I think this is ending. So I'm going to end by plugging my podcast again. Check us out at libertyweekly.net. I put episodes out once a week. I do a lot of I've been doing a lot more technical things related to libertarian legal theory. I kind of want to niche myself in there a little bit, but I think maybe you'd enjoy the podcast. Give us a shot. But otherwise, I'm going to say, if you want to support my work on Patreon, if you are a listener of the show, or if you're also a libertarian, or if you just like independent content producers, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/libertyweekly. There's lots of awesome rewards there, like transcripts to our episodes. Also, there is a link to a meme cache for you meme soldiers out there in the meme wars. You can, by supporting us on Patreon, you get access to our meme repository where we have a whole bunch of ANCAP and voluntarist memes. So thanks for watching my first Let's Play, and hopefully there's lots more in the future, and hopefully I get a lot better at it. So we'll see what happens. Thanks a lot, guys.